Okay, so now we're going to do the last skill for our fractions unit and talk about how to compare the value of improper fractions and mixed numbers. So which is more or which is the least? So here are the steps for you. If you want to go ahead and pause to write these down, you need to change them to the same type, check denominators and whole numbers, and see if you need to make the denominators common. Okay, so hopefully you've paused if you need to. I'll show you how we'll compare 7/3 to 2 2/3. So you need to change these to the same type. It doesn't really matter if you change them to mixed numbers or improper fractions. Just pick the one that you prefer to work with. I prefer to work with improper fractions. So that's what I'm going to do for my first example. So this is already improper, we'll leave that. And this one is not. So to make it improper, a skill you should have worked on by now. If you still aren't comfortable with that, make sure you've watched those videos and done the work attached. Okay, so this is 2 times 6 plus 2. We know that's 8/3. Okay, so now if I compare 7/3 to 8/3, my second step is to check my denominators. 7/3 and 8/3 are this, like I have the same denominator here, so I don't have to do anything else. I can just easily look at the numerator and see that 8 is bigger than 7, so this is less than. Okay, I will do a question that's a little bit more complicated, and I'll change them into mixed numbers so that you can see what I mean by check the wholes here. Okay, so let's do 9/5 versus 1 2/3. So let's change them into mixed numbers this time. This one's already mixed, so we're going to leave it. And 9/5 would become 1 4/5. I'll write it underneath so you guys can see a little better. 1 4/5. Okay, so we changed them both to mixed numbers. Now we need to check our whole numbers. Okay, so sometimes when you convert, you'll end up with different whole numbers. If one whole number is smaller or bigger, then you don't have to go any farther. So if this was, for example, 2 4/5, I already know that 2 pies and a little bit of a pie is bigger than 1 pie and a fraction of a pie, right? So I don't have to do any more. But here we have the same whole number. So we go on to the next step. All right, check for our denominators. Okay, so now we get into trouble. We have fifths here and thirds here. So we list out to find our common denominator. Some of you can probably figure that out without listing, and that's fine too, but whatever works. 5, 10, 15. Okay, we see our lowest common denominator will be 15. So now it's very important. You do not do anything to your whole numbers, okay? Whole numbers are in the same, it's just one whole. So you don't touch them. When you're multiplying to change to your lowest common denominator, you're only working with the fraction. All right, so this is all going to be 15 times 3 equals, 5 times 3 equals 15. So this will be 1 12/15. And this will be times 5, so this will be 1 10/15. So now we look which is bigger. The 12/15 one is bigger. So 9/5 is greater than 1 2/3. All right, so that is pretty much all you do. Just change it to the type you like best. Check your denominators and your whole numbers, and then switch around what you need to so you can compare them without too much work. I am just going to quickly do one more example for anyone who wants a little more. Oops. So 7/9 versus 1 4/5 versus, let's do 20/7. See, now I have 3. I'm all about the, well, actually, let's see, we might have bigger holes. So this 7/9 is actually less than 1. I think I meant to do that the other way. Let's do 9/7. Okay. So that would be 1 2/7, 1 4/5, and this would be 2 14 6/7. Okay, so I already know that this one is my biggest one. So let's order them from least to greatest. So that's biggest already. Now, 1 2/7 I know is smaller than 1 4/5 because I can visualize that 4/5 of my pie is more than 2/7. But if we were to change it to our lowest common denominator, it would be 1 10/35 versus 1 28/35. So you can see that is already the least. Okay, so these are already in order from least to greatest. Okay, go practice. Good job.